Hello, and welcome to Rethinking Our History, where we seek to shed a light on events that have been forgotten and covered up, and to make us all question how much do we really know about our history? I'm Felicia.
And I'm Ian, and we are here to reveal all the sordid details of history that have been swept under the rug. Get ready to get angry, be curious, and maybe have a laugh or two as we rethink our history.
Hello, friends.
Hello, fellow historians.
He's on one today, but so am I. So we're quite the pair. Thanks for joining us for another lesson, number 43. Not sure why my notes say 41, but we're on 43.
Yep.
And then it says the answer to the life, universe, and everything. Wow, I was all confused on this fucking episode.
That was last episode.
Oh, it's been like what, 2 weeks since we recorded? 3, 4 weeks since I did these notes? I don't even know anymore.
Right.
The answer, yeah, nope, not that. All right, we got another upsetting episode for you today. First, little PSA. I really hate doing that business stuff at the beginning of the episode, you guys. It just feels awkward and I don't like it. So we're going to stop doing it altogether. The links for our social medias and where you can find our show are at the bottom. If we have sales and stuff, we'll hop on here, let you guys know about those. We actually have one that starts today, $13, $13.95 t-shirts and 35% off everything else.
Nice.
Over at theparanormallovers.threadless.com. You can find the link below. Other than that, let's get into this horse shit.
Yeah.
This week we're going to look at another racially motivated massacre. Of course, it's not white people that got massacred, but black people who were simply fighting for their rights. At the time of this event, sharecropping had become the new way to keep black people enslaved. Landowners would allow someone to farm their land for a portion of the profits. They supplied seed and equipment to the farmers as well. This portion was usually 1/2 to 2/3 of the total profit. Then sharecroppers would have to pay back merchants who had lent them supplies on credit. For many people, there would be nothing left, or even not enough to pay back their debts, and they would stay indebted until they paid everything back.
Right.
And guess what? If they didn't pay it back in their lifetime, that debt was transferred onto their family.
Wow.
That
sucks.
I don't know if I talk about this in this episode or not. Bear with me. Side note, this is actually really a still common tactic for enslavement today.
Yeah.
Especially, and I'm not dogging people who are from India. But even if you go over and listen to Red Handed, Cerruti will talk about how the wealth gap is so extreme over there, and these slums are just, it's insane how these people are forced to work for like cents on the day, and they just stay indebted for their whole lives, and then their next generation's indebted in the next and the next, because these people never they don't let up.
Yeah.
They're so greedy and so rich, and they just constantly are adding more debt onto people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And that's what that one of those new books that I got from the store out there is about, is a boy that ends up going into slavery because of the debt that his family owes.
Right.
That's why I went and warned you, like, that one's probably going to fuck you up.
Probably.
This is where sharecroppers found themselves on September 29th, 1919, as they gathered at a small church in Elaine, Arkansas. They had had enough with the outrageous portions the landowners kept taking from them, and had enlisted the help of Ulysses Bratton, a white attorney from Little Rock, to help them fight for better terms. It wasn't just that landowners were demanding more, but they also refused to show their accounting and would keep them indebted without proving a debt existed. There had been racially motivated violence in the area recently, and some of the farmers had come armed with firearms. Around 11 p.m., a group of white men approached the church and opened fire. The farmers fired back, and in the ensuing gunfight, one white man was killed. Word spread about the death of the man, as did rumors that the farmers were planning a quote unquote insurrection against the white residents of Phillips County. It's always a fucking insurrection, ain't it?
Yeah.
But when it's an actual insurrection, there's good people on both sides.
You're like, oh no, it's not like that. It's just
They're just
they're just visitors.
they're just out here participating in their rights.
Yeah.
First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah! Sorry,
I guess
guys.
murder is one of those rights too.
I'm losing my goddamn mind in this world.
Right.
This was a terrifying prospect for the residents of Phillip County, as black people outnumbered white people 3-1 throughout the county. And for years, white people held their control by passing complicated voting laws and their favorite, Jim Crow laws, that kept segregation in place and pushed an ideology of white supremacy. In an attempt to be fairly compensated for their work, Robert L. Hill, a black farmer from Winchester, Arkansas, founded the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, PFHUA. And it was this organization that hired Ulysses to represent them. The summer of 1919 was one of the bloodiest times in U.S. history. This was known as the Red Summer. There had already been over 36 race-related massacres aimed at black communities.
Jeez.
Hear that again, folks.
Over 300?
36.
Okay.
Still 36 towns that were wiped off the face of the map.
That's crazy.
36.
No telling how many people, too.
When people say, oh, black people could make their own communities and we would be fine with it, remind them that in the summer of 1919, over 36 black communities were destroyed.
Yeah.
And the people murdered.
Right.
Because this was after World War I, and many soldiers, white and black, were coming home and competing for jobs in the area. And after going off to far-flung countries to fight in a white man's war, black people were no longer willing to be treated like animals.
Right.
And began to fight back when their communities were attacked. Because that's what it was. Their communities were getting attacked. And for the longest time, we just rolled over and turned the other cheek or took the high road. But when you go off and fight in a war that's not even your fucking war, and then you come home and you still get treated like you're an animal,
that's crazy.
Some other lower life form, fuck out of here with that bullshit.
We see what happened when they did that to Rambo.
Well, I mean, even Joseph talks about like how
he
stupid
first blood
racism is, because he says he remembers being in the army and like there was no race.
Yeah.
You're a soldier. Yeah. You're all brothers in arms. You know, he's like, but as soon as you get stateside and come home, you're just a dirty Indian again.
Right.
Or in our case, you're just like a stupid N-word again. It's like,
why can't they treat them the same as when they were in there?
How does that correlate to, I'm good enough to go off and fight this war, kill people for you, possibly get died for you, but I'm not good enough for you to respect me, to live beside you and own land?
Yeah. A lot of the protesters that have been getting like shot at and stuff now with the tear gas and the pepper balls, a lot of them are veterans. And it's like, why are you treating our veterans like that for like just participating in a First Amendment right?
Because they look at it the way that I don't remember what the character's name was on that episode of SWAT, like the last episode where the place got bombed last night. He was talking about the guys in his group and he was like, they're just soldiers. That's exactly how they feel about it. They're pawns.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, well, these are expendable. We're not expendable because we have money and we need to hoard all the planet's resources. But these are just people. We can make more. There's 8 billion of them on this planet.
Right.
This is why we push women to have babies, just so we have more soldiers.
It's like you're working at a fast food joint.
So yeah, America has a lot to answer for. And I want to be very clear on something. While I do see white supremacy as a serious issue in this country and globally, it is a problem created by the wealthy.
Yeah.
It is a class war, and racism is a weapon.
Yeah.
Let's never lose sight of that truth.
For sure.
So we find ourselves on the 29th with around 100 black farmers meeting to talk. Well, it was like the night of the 29th into the 30th, with about 100 black farmers meeting to talk about things when two deputized white men and a black man showed up in the church and opened fire. Railroad policeman W.D. Atkins was shot and killed, and the other white man was wounded. According to Revolution in the Land, Southern Agriculture in the 20th Century, quote, the black trustee ran back to Helena, the county seat of Phillips County, and alerted officials. A posse was dispatched, and within a few hours, hundreds of white men, many of the low down variety, began to comb the area for blacks they believed were launching an insurrection. In the end, over 100 African Americans were killed. Some estimates of the Black Death toll range into the hundreds. Allegations surfaced that the white posse and even U.S. soldiers who were brought in to put down the so called rebellion had massacred defenseless black men, women, and children. And when they say hundreds, they mean between 500 and 1,000 angry armed white men showed up to put down the quote unquote black insurrection.
Right.
There, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There is something animalistic about that particular group of skin colored, certain gendered people. Like, obviously not you. You're not that white guy. And I bet people are like,
No.
I can't believe she's sitting here saying all this shit about white men to a white man.
I
Because
think the same
he's not this type of white, folks.
No.
And he gets it. He sees it. He saw it long fucking before I did. You know, and it's like,
yeah,
there's something animalistic and almost still primal about this. The way they act when they get together.
Yeah.
They turn into animals.
And it's like, there's like, you know, I've always been a man of like chivalrous thoughts, like honor, chivalry, you know, take the high road on stuff. And like, it sickens me to see people like that are just like, they're so depraved that they would rather take a $40,000 sign on bonus, even though they didn't get the $40,000 sign on bonus, just the possibility of getting it. And they're trying to like separate people from their families. That is not honorable.
It's not. It's
like,
not.
It's like the opposite of honor. It's so low down, dirty, shameful that it sickens me.
You know, I grew up for a little bit around my black side of the family until we moved up here. I was around them pretty often, regularly, I'd say, maybe not often, but regularly. And I never understood why black people called white people white devils. I never understood it. But it's when you think about these people are just sitting
Good
down
and
for
evil.
dinner at they're just sitting down for dinner at home, and all of a sudden 100 white men bust into your house. They beat your husband, they beat your kids, they shoot everybody, they shoot your fucking dog.
It's pure evil.
How can you not see them as white devils?
Right.
They are it's evil. It's evil. There's something evil about white people, especially when they get in a large group and they're all riled up. They look like fucking demons.
Yeah.
Like, God, ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah, I'm not doing well, folks. And like it always does, shit hit the fan. Black people were shot on sight as the mob made its way through the county. This didn't just happen in a town. This took place all over the county.
Yeah.
For like 5 days, folks.
Jeez.
This was not just a one-day attack. This was almost a solid week of a mob of angry white men running through this county, shooting black people at will.
It's crazy.
White residents reached out to Governor Charles Burrow and asked for assistance against the quote-unquote Negro uprising. Newspaper headlines talked about the quote-unquote insurrection and claimed black people planned to murder all the white leaders in the county. Because they could just fucking lie. Called yellow journalism, folk. They could just fucking lie. They would just lie to sell papers. That's how they made their money, was lying to sell papers. This is why it's so important we have journalistic integrity today.
Yeah, Fox News.
The governor contacted the War Department and requested federal aid, and after a delay, around 600 troops were deployed to the area. They found the area in chaos, but it still took them 3 days to get the violence under control. Of course, after the killing stopped, 285 black people were arrested for questioning and, according to the troops, for their protection. They were held until their employer could vouch for them. Until a white person would come over and say, yeah, that one's good.
What the fuck?
Will you vouch for me, honey? Official reports claim 11 black people were killed and 5 white people, but we know they have no problem lying on official documents to make themselves seem better in these situations. It is more likely around 300 black people were slaughtered, over the 8 days of violence. 8 days. This isn't a war, okay? I get it. War's traumatic. Look what's happening to Gaza. I got a wonderful lady I work with who's a hoarder because she left her country with 3 bags and came to this country with nothing. War's traumatic. This isn't even war.
No.
This is just white people pissed off, and they're spending over a week terrorizing people. Y'all wonder why I got anxiety?
Right.
Because our DNA remembers that shit and it passes it down to the next generation.
Yeah.
The next day, it was reported that the quote-unquote rioting was due to propaganda given to black people by white men. Quote, additional evidence had been obtained of the activities of propagandists among the Negroes, and it is thought that a plot existed for a general uprising against the whites. A white man had been arrested and was alleged to have been preaching social equality among the Negroes. Oh no! Part of the headline was trouble traced to socialist agitators, end quote. Not preaching equality. Whatever will we do? Yeah, they were planning a general uprising because they were like, hey, do you think we could have some money for the work we've been doing?
Right.
We're not enslaved anymore.
Yeah.
That was 50 years ago. Let's get it together. The governor appointed the committee of 7 to investigate the event. Of course, these 7 were local white businessmen who concluded that the PFHUA was a, quote, socialist enterprise and established for the purpose of banding Negroes together for the killing of white people, end quote.
I mean, can you blame them? Like, they're trying to kill them, so why the fuck not?
It's not what they were doing, though.
I know.
They're trying to justify their shitty behavior by claiming that we're shittier.
Yeah.
We're not.
No.
We're fucking great. But we all know that is not the case. The violence started because white landowners didn't want to lose their slave labor. Full stop. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
So it should come as no surprise that on October and November of 1999, or in October and November of 1919, not 1999, took 80 years for this case to get underway. An all-white grand jury returned indictments against 122 black people in connection with the riot. So not only were they forced, terrorized,
murdered, ran out of town
for a week. Then they get convicted.
What the fuck?
Of what? I don't know. Due to shitty laws passed in Arkansas. Y'all, I gotta say, every time I say Arkansas, it reminds me of the time that we drove to Memphis to go to Graceland. We stayed at the KOA, which is 10 minutes over the line in Arkansas.
They got some shitty roads.
That, and there was cotton everywhere. Do y'all understand how I felt? See cotton floating everywhere.
It was just floating by
and
the whole time we were there.
Arkansas, the less I like this fucking state.
Yep.
God. Due to shitty laws, oh, yeah. If I can remember, I will find that video of us getting off the interstate in Arkansas. Y'all
Yeah.
put on a fucking do better with your off ramps, Kay, because that shit's dangerous.
Yeah, it was.
Uh, due to shitty laws passed in Arkansas, non-voters could not serve on the jury, and since black people could not vote, they were not allowed on juries. In the end, 73 were charged with murder. Like, how? Only 5 white people died. Did 73 black people kill 5 white people? Or are you saying 73 black people killed other black people? Any black farmers who were willing to, well, kind of, yeah, any black farmers who were willing to work with the courts and testify against the others were set free, and those who refused were charged with various crimes. Their trials were held in the county courthouse in 1920 in Elaine. Mobs of white folks filled the courtroom and loitered around the courthouse. None of the defendants were allowed to testify, and no witnesses were called to testify in their defense. 12 men, who would come to be known as the Arkansas 12 or the Elaine 12, were sentenced to death by electric chair, while the rest were given various lengths of imprisonment. Many of these trials, yeah. Oh, damn. Many of these trials lasted less than an hour. Less than 60 minutes.
What the fuck?
And the all-white jurors only took minutes to find them guilty and sentence them to death.
That's crazy.
So that's fun. Yeah, I wonder why we don't trust the judicial system.
Yeah. Only works for the rich.
When the appeals process started, which I believe is automatic in death penalty cases if the defendant is found guilty, the NAACP got involved. They hired Scipio Africanus Jones.
Nice.
A highly respected black attorney, and Colonel George W. Murphy, a 79-year-old Confederate veteran and former Arkansas Attorney General.
Wow.
Later, Moorfield Story, the founding president of the NAACP and descendant of Bostonian abolitionists, would also join the team.
Hell yeah.
So this is like an all-star fucking team of attorneys.
Right.
Like if they had Ben Crump, and who was that dude that did OJ's case? Like get Ben Crump and that dude together, that's what you got.
Can't remember.
Oh, shit, his name just popped and then it went boop. This all-star team of attorneys was able to get the verdicts of 6 of the 12 death penalty cases reversed and sent back to the lower court for retrial.
Nice.
These cases were known as the Ware defendants, and their retrial began on May 3rd, 1920. On May 6th, Colonel Murphy collapsed in the courtroom. Scipio Jones carried the case forward from this point, but the all-white jury convicted the defendants of second-degree murder. Jones appealed this verdict, and it was again overturned by the state Supreme Court. Quote, it found that the exclusion of black folks from the juries resulted in a lack of due process for the defendants. Based on violations of the 14th Amendment, especially due process clause in the Civil Rights Act of 1875, due to the exclusion of black people from juries, end quote. And we don't care about due process. The lower courts were required to charge the men within 2 years, but failed to do so in time, and the Ware defendants were released in 1923.
Nice.
However, Moore and the other 5 defendants had a harder time of it. The Arkansas Supreme Court upheld their conviction and claimed that the all-white jury, the mob atmosphere, coercion, and torture did not deny the defendants their due process. They unsuccessfully petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court for a writ of certiorari. Yep. When that failed, they petitioned for a writ of habeas corpus. They had initially planned on filing it in the federal district court, but the only judge was assigned to Minnesota at the time and would not return until after their execution date. So the writ was issued by Judge John Ellis Martineau of Pulaski County Chancery Court. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I don't know either.
The writ would be overturned by the Arkansas Supreme Court, but it gave the defendants enough time to take their petition to federal court. Another writ was issued by U.S. District Judge Jacob Trebier. The state of Arkansas defended their conviction, saying that even if torture and mob pressure were used to get confessions, so what? It doesn't mean their due processes were violated. What do you mean? We don't understand why we can't use torture and peer pressure and harassment and fear.
There's a
and violence, because that's what this fucking country's founded on.
There's a newspaper headline about it that says like mobs slay Arkansas family. Like what?
Yeah, I don't know.
And it looks like the like black guys. The photo on the front, anyways. So I'm like real confused.
It's probably trying to paint black mobs
as mobs.
Paint the black people as mobs going after white families, because that's just what they did.
Yeah.
They would just lie.
Kind of like, oh, these are Venezuelan gangs. Like, yeah, the kids are. The little children are too. What the fuck, y'all?
The U.S. District Court agreed denying the writ, but did find there was probable cause for an appeal and allowed them to take their case to the Supreme Court, and their convictions would be vacated on the grounds that, yes, a mob-like atmosphere and torture do in fact deny a defendant their due process as required by the 14th Amendment in the United States Constitution. Hoping to get the men out before the new governor, a known Klan member, came into office. I'll never go back to Arkansas, thank you very much. Attorney Greg George wrote a letter to outgoing Governor Thomas McRae asking him to find a way to release the men if they agreed to plead to second-degree murder. Just hours before he left office, McRae contacted Jones to let him know he had issued indefinite furloughs for the defendants. The men were released under the cover of darkness and quickly moved to new states to prevent them from being lynched.
Right.
These cases had a lasting effect on the judicial system. The Supreme Court began to keep a closer eye on cases that could be in violation of the Due Process Clause and Bill of Rights. Oh, God, excuse me, folks. It also brought the NAACP into the light and gave them a boost in their image as an organization that will fight for the people.
Right.
It has only been in the last couple of decades that research has really taken off about this event. Many people do not want to talk about this event as it is too painful for them, but also because Black people were intimidated into not speaking up about the violence for fear of violence.
Right.
Unions for Black people in the area went bust, and they were in fear of their lives, so they kept quiet and to themselves. That danger and violence was never far away, as the second wave of the KKK was activated in 1921 in Arkansas, and they worked hard to keep Black communities oppressed. Quote, author Richard Wright grew up in Phillips County and discusses it in his autobiography, Black Boy. He wrote that when he questioned his mother about why their people did not fight back, the fear that was in her made her slap me into silence, end quote. Yeah, goosebumps. I hate that. And that's another example of white supremacy feeding into abuse within families of Black communities, because it's not even it's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear. It's you got to keep quiet so we don't get murdered by a bunch of crazy white demons.
Right.
It's
horrible.
Yeah. It has been widely accepted in the historical community that the excuse of a Black insurrection and plan to kill white landowners was a lie. Author Griff Stockley, who wrote a book on the massacre, was quoted saying, quote, there has been plenty of evidence to say whites attacked Blacks indiscriminately, end quote.
Yeah.
No, the catalyst for the massacre was that Black people simply dared to think that they could have what they earned, what they were owed. Every family was supposed to get 40 acres and a mule, so why the fuck are they sharecropping for white people anyways?
Right.
Maybe because it was never about giving black people their freedom, but it has always been about those in control keeping their control by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And so we find ourselves going down this path once again, but this time the mob has the military at their disposal.
Yeah.
So we can keep doing for what we've been doing for the past 500 years, take the high road, turning the other cheek, or we can prepare. We can arm ourselves, make connections within our communities to have plans in place. Start growing our own food, educating our children far beyond what the schools are teaching them.
Yep.
And if you can, get your passport as a backup plan because you just never know.
Yep.
Okay, Bill. Thoughts?
I mean, it's very relevant nowadays. Like, except now, you know, it's not just black people now, it's all of the poor, like, which is like 90% of Americans. So welcome to feeling how all the black people felt, people. It's you now. It's not just them, it's all of us. So
we've been trying to tell you.
Get ready. Like, it's gonna get worse.
We've been trying to tell you. People are like, oh, crazy. And I admit, I was one of those people when I was younger. I was so fucking naive about the world and the way it worked, and I'd ignorant to such bliss. Can I go back to being ignorant?
I mean, they've already called us all Antifa. Like, oh, it's a gang.
Yeah, they fucking designated Antifa,
anti-fascist,
as a terrorist organization.
Like,
but not the Ku Klux Klan.
It's funny. I heard an interview last night in Portland where now my brain's fucking thinking riot.
Protest.
It wasn't a riot. It was a protest. But the guy was interviewing people and he's asking them what he thought of it. And they're like, well, anti-fascism is not a gang. It's a idealism. It's a belief.
Exactly.
Of not being
either
fascist.
You're anti-fascist or you're fascist.
Yep.
Like, that's it. That's all. There's no two ways to cut it.
It's an ideology. It's not a gang.
I mean, it's even like Prof. Prof went to Chicago during the first leg of his tour where we went to see him. Mm-hmm. And he had posted a video on his story one day. He's like walking down a nice street in Chicago. Sun's out. Wind's blowing. People are just walking. He's like, oh, God. What a shithole. It's just terrible here. He hates Donald Trump too.
Yeah.
The reason why I love him. But it's just they're just lying because they feel their power slipping.
I love what Big Sarge said about it.
The tides are turning and they're scared.
Big Sarge was like, I am Antifa. Come and fucking get me and fucking we'll have a turn your cameras off moment.
It's so funny because I sit here and I yell and I scream and I talk shit on this podcast. And then like half the time I'm sitting over here like, they're going to come kill me one of these days.
Neither of us want to commit suicide or have talked about going away.
Nope.
So.
Nope.
This is the last you guys hear of us. Come looking.
If we ever disappear,
go get Big Sarge.
It was probably some racist. Yeah, go get them. Go find the White George and the Jolly Good Ginger.
Yep.
Hit up Jasmine Crockett while you at it.
Yep. Bring all of them.
Jasmine, what up, sis? You might as well hit up like Lizzo and Prof and the Snotty Nose Rez Kids. Hit up Indigenous Tales.
Yes.
Just fucking go to town. Hit up my boss Sarah at Within Reach because she will have things to say.
Because it's literally all of us who are the Antifa. Because fuck fascism.
If you make less than $50,000 or $100,000 a year, you should be anti-fascist.
Yeah, you really should.
You really should be anti-fascist
because they're trying to take you down.
The fascists are the ones with the money in this country, and we can't keep letting them do what they're doing.
No.
I'm just waiting. I'm too scared to go out and do it by myself. But when the gang gets together and we finally start to decide to do some shit, I'm fucking ready. Let's roll.
Right.
Let's roll. Let's roll out.
My soul's been ready since I was 16.
Let's go save this city.
Hey, I protested against skateboarding on Main Street
Yeah.
when I was 16, so I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like,
you mean you protested against them stopping skateboarding on
yes.
Main Street?
Yeah. And hey, now we have a skate park.
Yep.
We wouldn't have had that if I didn't speak up and tell people what, the minorities' opinions were.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. And your voice is the only one they want to hear. So use it if you got it.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Thanks for joining us for this lesson. If you are curious if there has been an event like this in your state, you can just search for your state's name in Race Riot or Massacre.
Probably has.
And Google or your favorite,
Unfortunately.
my personal favorite, DuckDuckGo. You'd be surprised how close these events like this are to your own front door.
Yeah.
We hope you guys have a good week, and we will see you guys later.
Be kind to each other.
Love you. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.